Hey, I'm Jamie East, and today's episode of The Smart 7 is sponsored by Vodafone Business in partnership with Samsung. If you're running a business, any kind of business, you're probably spending some time thinking about AI, what to do, how much to use it, and how to even get started. The answer could be in your pocket. The new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, powered by Vodafone Business's reliable, award-winning network, will help you unleash your productivity through brilliant built-in Galaxy AI. For example, Note Assist will automatically correct, fix the spelling, formatting and organise your meeting notes so you can stay tuned into the session without any worry. And as useful as AI is, some major newspapers learnt this week that you shouldn't depend on it for your summer reading list. An article in the Chicago Sun-Times, which used ChatGPT to generate a list of books for the beach, included real authors but totally imaginary book titles. Getting back to the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, to take advantage of all the features and change the way you do business, you'll need a Samsung account and a network connection. To find out more, search Vodafone Business Samsung, and for network verification, go to vodafone.co.uk/network. On today's Smart 7, Tate Brothers set to face 21 charges, Germany OK's long-range missiles for Ukraine, and much more. It's Thursday, 29th of May, it's National Biscuit Day, and happy birthday, Mel B.
The Smart 7. It's news, but not the news.
Crime was in the spotlight on Wednesday as the government revealed for the first time that it has authorised 21 charges against brothers Andrew and Tristan Tate. They include rape, actual bodily harm and sex trafficking, and the government is seeking to extradite the misogynistic influencers from Romania. As the government struggles with prison capacity, they're planning to make more use of the parole service and release more prisoners early. They're also planning to build a number of new prisons, and Deputy PM Angela Rayner says the government is still taking crime very seriously.
If people are well behaved and deemed not a risk, that they could be tagged and supported in the community. So it's not softening crime, it's about making sure we build the prisons we need, we've got the bobbies on the beat, and we're making sure that people are safe in their communities.
Met Police Chief Mark Rowley is sounding the alarm though, warning that the changes to the system will require additional investment in policing.
We're under capacity on international measures, we're under capacity if you look across Europe. So if you look at benchmarks, it's a big issue with our history, with internationally. And then we've got a government that's really ambitious about what it wants policing to do.
There's been no sign of any let-up in Russia's ongoing waves of drone and missile attacks on cities across Ukraine. In return, Ukraine has launched waves of drones at military targets, including missile factories, and briefly caused all 4 airports around Moscow to close on Wednesday, causing flight chaos in the Russian capital. Ukrainian President Zelensky was in Berlin to meet with new German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, who had good news for Ukraine and bad news for Russia.
Our defence ministers will sign a memorandum of understanding on the procurement of long-range weapon systems manufactured in Ukraine. There will be no restriction on range. Ukraine will thus be able to defend itself fully, even against military targets outside its own territory.
There continues to be no sign of any steps towards a ceasefire in the war, and Zelensky reported on Wednesday that Russia appears to be massing up to 50,000 troops on Ukraine's northern border. Donald Trump has raged at Putin and threatened action, but there's been no sign of sanctions, and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov was still deploying delaying tactics ahead of the proposed talks in Turkey next week.
On May 16th in Istanbul, when the talks resumed, we insisted on the repeal of all these discriminatory laws and will continue to do so in the next round of talks, which will be announced very soon.
Troubled Thames Water was hit with a massive fine by water regulator Ofwat on Wednesday. The company, which is struggling to raise new funding to avoid collapsing under the weight of accumulated debt, was fined £104 million for environmental breaches and failing to manage sewage spills. They were also fined £18 million for breaking rules on dividends, the first time that activity has been punished. The firm paid out cash to investors despite failings in customer service and environmental requirements. Labour has promised to get tough with the water companies, and Housing Minister Matthew Pennycook says the firm and its investors, not their customers, will have to pay the fine.
We think it is absolutely right that the era of profiting from failure is brought to an end. This government has overseen an unprecedented crackdown on water companies. It's got to be right that companies cannot profit for failure.
After almost 3 months of blockades on Gaza that prevented food, aid and essential supplies getting into the territory, the first attempts to lift the blockade have been disastrous. Tuesday saw chaos in southern Gaza as the first efforts of the Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation to distribute food ended with IDF soldiers firing warning shots at desperate crowds. Then on Wednesday, a UN food programme warehouse was broken into by starving Palestinians in central Gaza, desperate to get access to the flour stored within. It appears at least 2 people died in the incident, and Tess Ingram from UNICEF says that this haphazard approach to essential supplies can't go on.
The problem here is not a lack of aid, it's a lack of access. And what we need to see happen in order to get on top of this severe risk of famine is aid to flow freely and be distributed to people in a dignified and principled manner.
Still to come on today's Smart 7 in association with Metro, Chelsea complete their trophy collection and Pedro Pascal brings the charm. Right after this. Hey, it's Jamie East here, and today's episode of the Smart 7 is sponsored by Vodafone Business in partnership with Samsung. When you're running your own business, pretty much anywhere can be your office. The spare room, the back garden, or, even the local cafe. And with the power of Vodafone Business's reliable award-winning network, combined with the new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, there's no limit to what you can do pretty much anywhere. For example, if you're working and caffeinating at the same time, the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra will allow you to seamlessly complete actions across a whole range of apps to find relevant information and send it where it needs to go. It can even summarise YouTube videos for you and save it to Samsung Text Notes. That's the power of AI in your pocket. And as useful as AI is, some major newspapers learnt this week that you shouldn't depend on it for your summer reading list. An article in the Chicago Sun-Times, which used ChatGPT to generate a list of books for the beach, included real authors, but totally imaginary book titles. And getting back to Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, to take advantage of all the features and change the way you do business, you'll need a Samsung account and a network connection. And if you're using the seamless action across apps, it's compatible with selected languages only. You'll also need a Google account login, and the availability of search functions may vary by country, language and device. To find out more, search Vodafone Business Samsung, and for network verification, go to vodafone.co.uk/network. Welcome back. Wednesday night saw Chelsea in European action, although the Europa Conference League final is arguably the least glamorous of this month's European finals. Still, a trophy is a trophy, and Enzo Maresca's team headed to Wrocław in Poland to face Spanish side Real Betis. They are now managed by Manuel Pellegrini, former Man City and West Ham coach, and his side includes former Man United winger Antony. The game saw the Spanish side take an early lead before Chelsea stormed back to win 4-1 and complete their European trophy collection with their first big win since the club's takeover in 2022. Manager Enzo Maresca was happy to see his team come through.
I'm very proud, I'm very happy for many reasons. For sure, personally, I feel good, but also because I know that the fans, they deserve that. They are waiting already for 2-3 years for good moments, so they deserve that.
The new Karate Kid movie is on the way. It's called Karate Kid Legends, and it sees the high-kicking gang back together, with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan back at it. The movie sees newcomer Li Fong having to decide between 2 karate masters, and the cast were out in force for the New York premiere. Jackie Chan is 71 years old now, but much to the surprise of the reporters, there's no stunt doubles or kung fu CGI with Jackie. He's still doing his own stunts.
You're talking about flip over, kicking and punch. For me, easy. I've been training all my life. I cannot jump from a tree anymore. Whatever I can do, I do it myself. Like when I was young, I can do a triple kick. But now I do one kick, I do one kick. I think the audience, they just know we want to see Jackie do the real things.
In a world full of post-apocalyptic nightmares, maybe it's time to bring the rom-com back to the cinema. The Materialists, which is not the greatest rom-com title ever, is set to do just that. Written and directed by Celine Song, who picked up 2 Academy Awards for her movie Past Lives. She's assembled a strong cast for a classic tale of a New York matchmaker who finds herself torn between the love of a millionaire called Randy or a waiter called John, who also happens to be her ex. Dakota Johnson stars alongside Chris Evans and Pedro Pascal, and it hits cinemas in August.
Tasting menu for 2, $700.
I like the way you pick up the bill.
I do it really well, don't I?
You do.
Coke. And beer, $9.50.
Hey, buddy.
Hi, John.
An unexpected run-in.
I missed you.
You Seeing anyone?
Priceless.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.